So Laurent, I'm very happy to have you here tonight. Laurent.
Jean-François.
Laurent is a graphic designer and art director based in Paris. He graduated from the École Nationale Supérieure des Arts Décoratifs long time ago in Paris, and then Cooper Union in School of Art in New York. It started at Atelier de Création Graphique. How long you stay there? I just learned that from your bio. So a few months. Then Pentagram Design Studio in London, and now you are a partner at Mucho, the global boutique design studio. That's it.
That's us.
Your good projects include the Wallpaper City Guide. You will speak about that tonight.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, Telerama. You are the art director since 3 years now.
It's been 3 years, yeah.
3 years. Wow, very good. You work for museum, institution too.
Yes.
What is your last book project or exhibition or?
Oh, it's very difficult to say. I'm on at least 4 books at the moment. So.
Wow. You conduct workshop in school like ENSAD, E7 in Paris, or a few other design schools in France. So welcome at Type Paris talk.
Thank you.
We will enjoy your talk. I'm very sure.
Well, we'll see that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for Type Paris to invite me to give a talk. Believe it or not, but I lived for 1 year in New York and 4 years in London, and my English is still, with a very, very strong French accent. So if you don't understand, just say, please repeat. I will. I try. Okay, talking about that, I've been back in Paris for, I don't know, something like 9 years now. And a couple of months ago, I was asked by a new company based in Barcelona who's doing T-shirts on cities to design a city on my own city, Paris. And they came to me and say, okay, we want to renew the city T-shirts. We don't want tourist T-shirts, we want design T-shirts, but we want T-shirts like, the I Love New York, and but, for now. So they say, okay, do Paris. I say, okay, and it's one of those commissioning, you're like, what am I going to do, what the fuck? Am I going to do a Eiffel Tower? It was great. Am I doing something else? And what I said is it's about your point of view, and also about people point of view. It's a question of point of view, and not necessarily on a building or something. So I thought about France, and I thought about typeface, and about Parisians, my daily life here, and how foreigners see us, and I came up with that T-shirt. Arrogant. That's how we're seen, and that's how we like to be seen. And it's not only saying arrogant; it says arrogant, copyright Paris. We own it. It's ours. So when I had that idea, I had to give a look to it. So I was like, okay, what could be the basis for that? And I thought the Concorde is very much the French pride, national pride, and that led to the antique olive note from Excofond, which is a strong, bold typeface, and that's it. That's how the T-shirt came. That's a first little project I wanted to show you to start with, because my talk, I'm not a type designer. I've tried to design type, and it's hard work. Congratulations to everybody who does it. No, I think I have an eye for it, and I know how to use it. I have a way to choose typefaces for projects, for specific projects. When I came with Le Métro, I was wondering, what am I as an art director, as a graphic designer? And I came with the idea that I'm a metteur en scène. I don't know what's the English for it. Stage director, something like that, I work with actors, I work with the light, I work with many things, and I try to get people to have, a really interesting show. that's what we do, I think, when we editorial designers, graphic designers. So, you know, actors can be the picture or the typeface, and you have to find the right one who will tell and have the right tone, and then, you know, mix everything and get something that sort of like works together. So one of the biggest projects, probably the biggest project I've been involved in, was the Wallpaper City Guide. Sorry. That was in 2006. Previously to that, I was a Wallpaper magazine art director for a little while. I worked on a redesign with Tony Chambers, who was a creative director. And I moved back to Paris, and they called me, as well as Phaidon Press, and they say, okay, look, we want to join forces with the strengths in design, the knowledge in design from Wallpaper, with the possibilities of publishing Phaidon has. We want to do a travel guide for designers, for people who are interested in this. And they gave me carte blanche, so more or less. So they said, okay, we want something that is very straightforward, easy, that you can carry with you, that doesn't look like any other city guide at the time, and that is really selective in what it shows. So I came up with those guides, with those covers. The idea of the cover, I don't know, do you know Wallpaper City, the Wallpaper magazine, yeah? Okay. Wallpaper magazine, the masthead is in a white box like that at the top, with underneath a picture. So I took that basic structure to work the covers. And at the time, now it's changed. 9 years later, 8 years later, it's changed. But at the time, you know, for city guys, you had either a picture of a tourist building or a contemporary building or a place or people in the street, in the pub or whatever. So I came with that, just a blank color. There's two reasons: the reminder of the Wallpaper magazine covers, and also the Pantone chips we all use as designers. So it was sort of like a little, you know, a little insider joke between us. And also we made like interesting collections and da-da. So, you know, for the people who know it, you know, it starts with a view on the city that sort of like helps you to have a brief idea of the urban structure of the city, informations, you know, as guides, and then very selective pictures of places you can see. Every place that is shown in the guide are places that have been made by designers, restaurants, bars, architectures, museums, or whatever. It's always something with a strong design look. That project has been really, really big. Nowadays, there are over 5 million copies sold. There's 5 different languages. So that was quite interesting to do. One thing I want to show you is, as many things I like when I do something, and also when I actually see other designs people do, is to do things that actually affect the way you behave with the object, you behave with the design, but that is not necessarily seen. One of the features of those guides here is that you know, when you have flaps on the cover, you know, especially on guides or what, you tend to use them as bookmark, yeah? So what happens usually is you get your book to be, you know, sort of be like that. So what I've done here is just I put 2 fold marks here and here, which make that when you use the flaps to as a bookmark, it folds and keeps your book flat, doesn't break your book. I'm telling you, out of the 5 million people who bought those books, nobody saw that. But they all experienced it. If we didn't do it, they would all have books like that. So that's what something I like about design. It's when it's really does something that you don't necessarily see it. Okay, that's another book I've done on Isadora Duncan. So Isadora Duncan it's an exhibition catalog And she was one really of the founder of the modern dance with Lois Fuller and Nijinsky. They completely changed dance at the time. From the ballet, they sort of freed it. And one of the way Isadora Duncan did it was by she was fascinated by ancient Greek culture. And she was always wearing sort of like Greek-like dresses, really wide, really thin, really easy for movements, and that sort of opened up possibilities to move. For the cover of the book, I used that idea. I took a picture of her dancing, and I went to the Louvre with my Pantone chips, and went to see the red, les vases à fond rouge grec, the Greek red figures vases. And I found the right color, and I just put that color on the picture as a reminder. So you had the movement. It was quite striking to see how the movements were very similar to the figures you would see. Antoine Bourdelle, who was a French sculptor in the early 20th century, drew her life. So I took his drawings and I opened it with tracing paper to give movements and light, something very light to the book. For the type, I used a very un papier bouffant, a really thick paper that is very light, and I use a very, very light font. I use Accident Grotesque Extra Light, and the note marks, I use them very black. Why did I do that? The first reason I wanted the typeface to just almost caress the paper, very light, almost you could blow it, and it will move away. So I want it to be that fragile, like when you dance, a movement is very fragile. At the same time, at least in France, when writers work on a catalog, they love to have those notes. There's dozens. So I knew I would have a lot of it. So, and you get all those numbers. So I thought I'm going to use this as a feature in the book. By making them very black, I got that rhythm in the pages, a rhythm that I don't really control. It goes where it goes. And it makes the pages to dance. It's almost like music notes. And I really like that idea of thinking of how the design will behave, but knowing that I won't be controlling it, and that will be the beauty to it. So that's how it looked. Oops, sorry. Yeah, a couple of pages. So in this case, the font was really used. It was used also because it was contemporary. We were late 19th century, early 20th century. It worked in that way, and also I would use the right weights to sort of achieve a goal. That's how I chose the font. RF, that's another book. It's a monograph on a French artist. So RF, his name is Richard Foguet, and it's an artist. He's in his mid-40s, and he always worked. He sort of like works on sort of all kind of rip-offs. He will take like postcards of famous artists. We'll take change something on it, and we'll give a completely different look and purpose, idea, and so he sort of like he reuses things over and over. He reuses also his own name, RF, République Française, French Republic. He plays with that, and at some point during the process of doing the book, we saw that for an artist, doing a monograph is sort of like his identity paper. So we came up with that huge passport book that will be his identity paper, and with the font we used this. The font is called La Police. It's designed by François Rappeau, La Police, a game, it's a game, because he always plays on a very narrow line between what is allowed and what is not allowed, reusing other people's work. And so it was quite interesting to have La Police in the book. Also, it had a strong French root. So it does things like that. Huge ping pong holes. That's what I told you. That's a picture of Mapletop. That's a sugar, when you throw your sugar. I just plugged it and it looks like masks. Things that it does. That's, to put your fruits, to put your flowers, mixing them, and it becomes a kind of ghost. Anthologie contemporaine. That's for several years I worked for le FRAC. It's a Fonds Régional d'Art Contemporain. It's a contemporary art place in Paris. And they have a place just outside Paris. It's an 18th century castle where they do, hors les murs, out of the place exhibitions, specific exhibitions. And that was about the ghostly presence in contemporary art. So it was a collective, a group exhibition, and they wanted to do a very small catalogue that would be given away at the entrance of the exhibition. So I came up with that very simple idea. It's been done over and over. You will see there's many things I do, Actually, the process is not so new. I think what is interesting is that it's right for the project. Anyway, so I've done that, and it gives the idea of that ghostly presence of the names. It's like the names went away, and you just have the trace of it. The spine, the spine of the books are gold. In that old, really like rough 18th century castle, there's still bits and pieces that are with some gold. And those books were stuck in piles, and you will get, those gold things reminding of the 18th century golden age. Kilimanjaro magazine. That's quite an old project. At the time, I was working for Pentagram, and it was hard work. It's an amazing place, but I had to do some little projects on my own. And that's a project I started with someone else, and we went with the idea of doing the biggest magazine in the world, which we did. As the other project was 5 million copies, this one was 500 copies, every issue. The idea was to have a really big magazine where you would have a physical contact to it. It's not something you can open in the tube or the metro. It's not something you can, open like in the bus. You really have to, take space. It's physical to open it. When you have a portrait in it, it's bigger than your own face. And we wanted to work to put together creative people from different fields: illustration, photography, writing, And we worked a bit like curators, but on paper. So this issue was on recycling. What we did is we drew this on a blackboard at the exact size we would use it on print, shot it nicely, and obviously got it print size 1. What happened is that when people went to buy it at Magma or at the Palais Tokyo, people would go, they had the feeling it was still there, because it was really, really on the size. Icon magazine, that's a fashion magazine. On that fashion magazine, I didn't change the logo, but it was a biannual fashion magazine, and I worked, every 6 months, obviously, on the issue. And the whole idea was to work, strongly with type. So you would get that sort of feature, encre, it was sort of melting with the dress, and little things like that. So here the font was will change every issue depending on the subject matter. That's another project, a lot of projects. That's again for the Frac Île-de-France. I think I got it wrong in my presentation because I wanted it just one step above, but I missed it. They asked me to do for children a little leaflet about the activities on Japan they had at the time. They had a really cheap budget. It was like, it was really like it had to be a cheap paper, no fancy colors, no gloss, no whatever, no. So I came up with something that was really cheap, just like A4 sheet of paper, printed, both sides, with instructions to how to fold it, and kids could play, and have their little plane, and also obviously it reminded of origami, the Japanese tradition, and we had something quite special, but that didn't cost anything, and yeah. Inside Out SF. Last year, IGA San Francisco called me and came with a commission to me to say, what do you think about San Francisco? I was like, what do they have with me doing cities? Paris, San Francisco, well, okay. So, to be honest, I've never been to San Francisco, even so my company has an office in San Francisco. So, I didn't really have a clue. So, but I remember movies, and I remember also mainly Bullets. I don't know if you recall the movie. And at some point in the movie, there's a car chase in San Francisco, and there is that street that is very famous. It's called Lombard Street, but its nickname is Crooked Street. And so I did that poster. For people who want to do pictures, I can.
Yes.
It's me. Cities, T-shirt, poster. So, I don't know if we're seeing everywhere in the world. If you have something to do on a city, I'm there. I can do Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, whatever. Call me. Faire Impression. That's a book. That's a lot of book. I was called to work on that book, the subject was the history of how art school started in France, outside of Paris. And what happened is that in the 19th century, each region had a specific industry. And those industries, those factories, they needed design. And they financed schools for people to do drawing for the industry. So we worked on that book, and we took Le Quai, which is the art school in Mulhouse, on the border of Germany and Switzerland. And the specific industry there was the printing fabric. So that's the book cover. Just show you some pages and explain that's. So I went in Mulhouse, and I went in the town hall library, I went in the Fabric Museum archives, and I found those lovely, lovely late 19th century designs by students. And I decided there was different chapters in the book. The book had historical texts. It had also interviews and even poetical texts. And I decided to use those patterns designed more than 100 years ago by students to open the chapters. And I decided to meld them with a type. So basically what happens is that what you see front is, what is front is back. It's like there's like thickness in the paper. So you see here like the flowers goes behind the type. I'm lost. Yeah, and you see that it's actually behind. You know, it works. It's just 2 kgs to do. It was just, but it was really nice to use to do it. What for the typeface? What I've done is François Rappeau, which I mentioned earlier, for something else, had been a teacher there in that school. So I decided to use, as I used patterns drawings from students from the 19th century, I use the typefaces from an old teacher. Again, it's another way to approach typography. I could have used other things, but here it made sense. First, it gave me a sans serif to work with, a nice one, Teinart. And I also got the lovely Dido that he designed, which was, had its roots in the 19th century. Full cycle for me in the term of using the fonts. So every type of text is laid out in a different way, and you can see with the drawings, the different, what happens. That were poems. So, as poems, there's long lines, so I flip the book to have enough space. It had no reason to be there, I just like them, because I like animals, wild animals. And that's, stats. It's basically infographics about, like infographic from the 19th century, the number of students in that school from 1945 to 2010. And if you take a little bit of time, it was just a different way to show it. But it had a reason because it worked with, let me go back, with the cylinder that are used to print fabric. So it was on the side. Outsiders film on India. One day I was in the studio and I got a call. Hello, I'm Shanay and I'm calling from Mumbai. I'm doing a book about a French filmmaker who did films in India. I very much like your work. Can you do the book for me? I said yes, and then I just we stopped the call, and then I saw, well, how much is it paid actually? Not much. So that was the cover. The idea of the cover was it's a cutout. And it was to work on the idea of the gaze, the look. That has a very strong, meaning obviously in filmmaking. People like Renoir went to film there, and we worked on that. Every chapter opened that way, so I used some Indian patterns, and opened with a postcard that you could tear up with the original poster of the movie. And yeah. Another book. That's Roman du Garn-Europe. It was a catalogue for the Fashion Museum in Paris, Palais Galliera. They got from the family of late 19th century fashionista. Its family gave to the museum all its collection. So they decided to do an exhibition and asked me to do the book. And I did that for the cover. For the type, I used the font that was designed by one of my partners in Barcelona actually, who is obviously an homage to Dido. And that allowed me to do something that I will tell you later, because first I want to talk about the cover, and I do that. So it opens like a wrap-top cover. How is it in English? Wrap over top. Back. So basically, the whole type in the book is made of one thickness, one line, one thickness. Like this is from the same thickness as this. Everything is the same thickness. Basically, is I wanted to feel that it was sewed. The type was sewed in the book with one single line. That's the dress, and obviously that's how was the book. Le musée imaginaire d'Henri Langlois. Henri Langlois, who was it? He was a founder of the French Cinematheque. The French Cinematheque in France was the first cinematheque ever. And he came to found the Cinematheque with the idea that the speaking movies had, overpowered the silent movies, black and white silent movies, and those movies were forgotten, were thrown away, and they had to be kept because they were part of our culture. So he decided to collect them, and that's how basically the Cinematheque started, the early thing. And but he became very famous for something specific. He had a very, very, very crazy, clairvoyant way to match films, and he will do how is it called? Like nights of films. You could come and see films for a night or for screenings. Yeah. And you would put together like a film from a movie maker from Finland or Japan or whatever. You would absolutely not see what could link them together. You would have a comedy, a drama, or whatever. But when you would see all the movies, you would get to understand, oh, actually, there's something about death in all those movies, treated in a different way. If I see all of them, actually, I get a quite nice enlightenment of that subject. And that was his power. So they came to me and they say, you know what? That guy, he didn't do movies. What he did is, put together movies. And so what we're going to have in that book is not his own art. And it's going to be other people's art. And we're not sure exactly how to match the pictures. Actually, you know what? We would like you to do like if you were Langlois. Just match the pictures the way you think it's clairvoyant. So I did. So with the font is Lyon, drawn by commercial type. And you will get all those. You will get type throughout the book, like the type you get in movies that have a meaning. So at some point, you get "Faisons un rêve," let's do a dream. If you flick through the book, you get all those messages up to fin, end for the last page. So there was a play on this, and the cover, it was meant to be like a folder. It was very messy. He would always lose things. He would have those folders. It was like folders all over the place. So you will get that what's English for elastic, please? Sorry? Elastic. Okay. To hold the book together. Spike and span. Again, one day I get a phone call. Hello, I'm from Japan. I very much like your work. We have a fashion brand who's very interested in Paris. So we would like a Paris designer to do our identity. I said yes. And so it was interesting. They were Japanese. They just loved French fashion. And they had an English name, so it was for me. So I did something very simple. I went, because I like Paris, French, I went to the basics, back to the basics, a Dido. Since Brodovich, it's a fashion font. It's been used by Harper's Bazaar, by Vogue, by everybody. Just name it, they use it. They use one, a different one, but they use one. And I just came with those dots. And those dots allowed me to have that symbol. Instead of having one monogram, I went on 3 different monograms that would, thanks to the dots, always, you would see it's the same family. And they applied it in Japan. And as it's been done in Japan, it's been very well done. So they sort of have a freedom depending on what they do, shop, windows, whatever, they have that sort of freedom to do things different, but still it looks alike. A different way to approach that. 4th of July. That was a really interesting commission too. I was asked to do a book for Christian Marclay. I don't know if you know the contemporary artist. And it's a very, very, very good, an amazing, I have to say, American-Swiss artist, contemporary artist. And one day, on the 4th of July, he went in some remote city, small town in the US, took 7 pictures, did huge prints, tear them apart, and basically that's in the gallery, displayed the bits of this. By doing this, what did he do? He did 2 things. First, from the multiple that is photography, he did something unique. Once it's stirred up, it's very unique. So it's sort of playing with what is photography. The second is, when you go to an event, then you come back, and I might talk to you or you about it, and my memories will, they'll never come back exactly the same. So I might talk, at some point I saw this, and that girl, or that guy did that, and he threw up, or he did whatever. That guy with the guitar was amazing. So you just give bits of your memory. By getting this, it was the same, sort of like you get bits of, what you saw. One thing I have to tell you is that there's one rule for this. One collector cannot have 2 pieces from the same photograph. So nobody can ever put together the pieces. Obviously, they sent me the pictures, and the first thing I did was to put together the pieces. So I get back the photographs and see how they look like. The reason I did that was, when you get something like that, it's like, well, okay, how do I do the layout? Why would I put that piece of photograph here and that other piece here? So I decided not to do the layout. I'm telling you a secret. Please don't tell anyone, because if you know that secret, then you can do something that you're not meant to be doing. Oh God, it goes fast. Okay, well, basically, I put all the pieces in one place, and then I just kept the pieces where they were meant to be in the size of the photograph, in the place in the photograph. And I show you like that. The full picture is like that, but nobody knows it. And I got spreads, and the book size is really the size of the original photographs, and I just mix them like you mix cards, and that was the layout. And what I did is I did that bounding, which half of the pictures are inside. So basically, if you want to see them, you have to tear it up. By doing so, well, what happens with your book that is, a multiple, becomes unique again. So it's sort of like a repetition of what he did. Télérama. That's an interesting project. It's one of the major magazines in France. It's a cultural magazine, it's a weekly, and it has a circulation of 600,000 copies a week. And 3 years ago, I worked on its redesign. So I did a new logo, and I'm sort of overseeing. A magazine today, it's a website, it's DVD boxes, it's, I don't know, name it, you have it. So that the covers, a lot. That's a specific object. It's like a 8-page A3 magazine, a spin-off of the magazine it's always on one subject. This one was for an exhibition on punk. So you will get a cover that was for Chaumont, the poster festival in France. That was for an electronic music festival in Rennes, in Brittany. And that's how you will look inside. You will get an opener, 8 pictures you have in the magazine, just a brief text about the picture, and then you have the pictures full page. You can tear it apart, get nice posters. Little books, like book collections, a CD on Georges Brassens, chocolate box, Audrey Hepburn box. You know, you have to do all of this and make it interesting, fun. So the fonts I use for that are Graphic from Commercial Type and Publico. The reason I chose them that they gave me flexibility. The Publico is very economical in space and very readable when it's small, and it had the flavor I wanted for that magazine. Some covers. What's interesting on doing a weekly? As you have seen, I've been doing catalogs. A catalog takes 3 months. That you do a cover in a week, it's in the trash. You can start over. Every week, it's a new thing to learn, to try. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes it's a success. I'm hoping I'm showing you success. So yeah, Etienne Dao, Stephen King. I had to kill a cover. Actually, he liked it so much that he asked to meet him. I'm very proud of it, so I tell you. That's about Sylvie Guillem, the famous dancer who left, and she's stopping her career. So the idea was just to show that feat that has been working for so many years. It's both beautiful, and at the same time you see it has suffered. That's also a very recent cover. You've seen it's a wide range. I'm over. Okay. Well, just one thing. When you do covers for a magazine like that, you have to give it all. You have to go down the line. You have to go over the edge. You have to jump without a parachute sometimes. That's what happened here. You have to choose the type. You have to choose the color. That was for a cover for Cannes Festival. So I tried the light. So I go on the shoot, and I'm like for Fred Smyers, you know. I'm testing the light for the star, for the rock star. And sometimes you have even to go further. I'm a bit afraid to show it, but I will. You have to try the dress. Because, without the dress, it's not the same. And if you mix the two, you get Mario Cotillard. Believe it or not. And it was disgraceful for me, I've got no shame, but, she liked it. That's it.